everyone. Hello. My name is Ruta. I'm from Miris University. And today we are having the last session for this week of our virtual interaction, Let's Be Connected. It is my honor to introduce this beautiful Friday noon guest, Professor Dr. Cavit Atalar, the head of Department of Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering. Dear Professor, hello, welcome. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to all. And I hope it's going to be a very good day. And also it's going to be the beginning of our having a freedom after these COVID-19 problems.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And hopefully it's gonna be as you said. We are very excited and motivated to have you here today, especially by this program that we are introducing to our viewers, prospective students and current students, the programs. So Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering, I believe, is the program that will prepare the future specialists, which is one of the most demand at the moment. So thank you for joining us today, and maybe ask you from the beginning to briefly introduce yourself and tell us shortly your story about how you became our family member of Miris University, and especially the position, how you came to this position of being head of Department of Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering.
I am a faculty at Dinianis University for 26 years. And we opened the Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering Department 7 years ago. So the administration decided and offered me to chair the department, and I accept the invitation. And since then, I am chairing the department of Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering. For the last 3 years, because it's a 4 years program, and we started to give graduates, and for 3 years we gave graduates. We gave up to now 150 graduates as undergraduates, and also so far we have 10 master's graduates, and this semester we are going to have another 20 undergraduates and also 15 master's graduates.
That's very
Our PhD program started just last year, so we haven't yet get a graduate from PhD program.
Okay. As you mentioned that we have already all the levels of the education, bachelor, master, and PhD. Hopefully our graduates of master gonna continue their studies for PhD. So next time when we're gonna speak with you, you can say also the numbers of PhD graduated students, or at least the ones who already got involved in the studies.
Yes, we started last semester actually the PhD program, and one of our master students already started for our PhD program, but of course it's going to take more than a year for him to graduate.
Of course, yes. Speaking about Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering program, may you introduce the syllabus of the program? What does it cover? What does the students study? Main points about the program?
Of course, Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering program is an engineering program. The students should have a good knowledge of maths, calculus, also physics and chemistry. And it's a hard program, I have to admit. You have to study very hard, but the benefits are better than even most engineering programs. Actually, the petroleum and natural gas engineering graduates, they got the highest salaries in worldwide because it's an energy, and energy is needed for the whole world. And the this discipline, it cost a lot to get the energy. For to have to drill one borehole, maybe you need between $5 to $40 million. So it's such a high cost, but of course, without the energy, you cannot do anything. And the graduates have to be very, very familiar with all the necessary fields between of the program to be able to get a good job, and a job in natural and gas engineering companies. If they are not good enough, then they may have in some other categories still, in geothermal or even in water, any other, because of their qualification. But however, their salaries are not going to be as high as the petroleum and natural gas engineers working on petroleum or natural gas companies. And they have to be very successful, they have to be very careful, and sometimes they need to go offshore. They have to stay at sea maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, even 4 weeks, depending. Sometimes they have to go to explore in the field, in the mountains. It's not like working on the office. But of course, you have to like it, and this is the name of the game for this field of engineering. And as I said, it's and your English has to be perfect. It doesn't matter what language you speak. Isn't We consider the English as an international language. We don't consider it as a foreign language. Whatever you know, you have to know English as well. And also because of the involvement of the United States as a big producer, you have to know the metric system and the British system. In other words, you have to know meters and you have to know miles. You have to know kilograms. You have to know pounds. So both of them you need to know. But and the most important thing, if you like your job, that's the most important thing. You can do anything you want. You have to like your job and study for it.
Exactly. Yes. Maybe know the assessment methods that is being used during the program, especially for undergraduate program of petroleum and natural gas engineering.
It's a normal, like the other engineering programs. As I said, especially for the first year, is usually we got maths, mathematics, calculus, physics, chemistry, English, and computer. And of course, introduction to petroleum and natural gas engineering. This is for the first year. The second year, again, we have the calculus, more calculus lectures, and then we start to see thermodynamics and materials and strength and so on, because all these are needed for the engineering purposes of the program. And then on the third year, you have a summer practice. On the fourth year, you got a summer practice as well. And the evaluation is in normal, as I said, normal procedures of the engineering faculty. We usually have one final exam, one midterm exam, and a few quizzes and homeworks. And of course, in some of our lectures, we got field trips. For example, for physical properties of the rocks. We take them around North Cyprus and we show them how the rocks are and what is their physical characteristics and how you are going to recognize it. And it's they are having some knowledge about before graduating, even in the first, especially in the second year, first semester and second semester of the second year, and on the fourth year we got 3 field trips as well. So we're preparing them for the real job. Okay. And of course, the grades are the same as starts from AA and goes down according to their marks.
Okay, thank you. As you mentioned that at some classes you are taking the students to the fields to explore different types of rocks and their materials. Is there other opportunities for the students to broaden their understanding? What kind of, is there extra methods except the class theoretical materials?
Now, the most important thing about petroleum and natural gas is the rock properties, because petroleum and natural gas, they are originated in the rocks, and understanding the rock, knowing the rock, then how you are going to explore. This is the most explore it, and then they get that idea. Also, for the last year and the year before, we gave the students the opportunity to have some numerical calculations about the reservoirs and about how they are going to calculate them, and also some simulations. We are lucky enough to get from a company they donated us a program, a computer program, which does this, and we built a new lab with 20 students to do it, and the program actually the lab altogether cost $15 million. I believe is the most expensive lab in the nearest university, maybe in the whole North Cyprus. But it gives an idea of the students how they are going to encounter in real life.
Right, that's very excited. Also about the summer training program, as you mentioned that it's one of the mandatory class for the students to do. What about the location of the summer training program? Are the mostly students making it, completing it in North Cyprus, or they are going back to their country, maybe, or some other countries? What's the experience of the summer training program?
The most students, they go to their countries because they have some connections with their countries, and they do it. We have more than 50 students from more than 50 countries. And some of these countries are oil producing or natural gas producing countries. So the students go to their countries. But some students which they cannot find, or it's hard for them to go and come because of the flight cost, we try and get them a place in Turkey with Turkish Petroleum. We have some students, we got them, or with private companies in Turkey, and they go to Turkey and do it. And some of them, they are doing it, very few of them in North Cyprus, where, of course, is a must to have your summer practice. And the summer practice is 20 working days for one, and it's two summer practices. So they have to do these. Now I have to add that our majority of our students, actually more than 95%, are foreign students from all over the world. Therefore, it's not like some departments which they have maybe 50% or 60% Turkish students. Ours is, I think, the only department which has clearly to, maybe now, because 3 of our Turkish students graduated, about 97% foreign students. And we have about, now I look at our numbers, 325 students at the time. And of course, 150 students that are already graduated for the last 3 years.
That's very nice. So we would not be mistaken giving information if we would say that petroleum and natural gas engineering is one of the, or maybe the most international department at Near East University, or maybe even in North Cyprus, right?
I should think so. I should think so.
Yes, that's very nice to know, Professor. From your teaching experience, what do successful students, what qualities they possesses once they graduate, or even during their studies? What
During
does
their
the successful student?
Well, during their studies, if they are attending their classes, if they are doing their homeworks, if they work hard for it, they can do it. And of course, when they come to our university, if they don't, their background is not high or very high, they have to work harder. This is the main thing. If they do that, they can be very successful. And some of our students, they did that. For example, our first graduate, the first ranking student graduate, he was from Lebanon. And of course, he finished his master's later on. He was the second ranking student of the engineering faculty. And engineering faculty, it, of course, it was about 3,500 students then, the engineering faculty, and we had about 300 graduates, and he was the second one. The next year, after a year, our first ranking student, she was also the first ranking student of the faculty. She is from Nigeria. And then we gave her a research assistantship.
Very nice.
So she's still with us, and she's about to finish her master thesis. So we got very, very, very successful students in our department, and we are proud of it. While I'm talking about our students, I have to talk about our faculty members as well, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We got 3 full professors in our department, 2 associate professors, 3 assistant professors, and just 1 newly graduated PhD lecturer. We got very experienced lecturers, and we got newly graduated lecturers as well. And we got graduates from United States, a PhD or master's, from Canada, from the United Kingdom, from Holland, from Turkey, mostly from Turkey, from Istanbul Technical University or Middle East Technical University, very high-ranking universities, because not many universities in Turkey have petroleum and natural gas engineering. I myself got my PhD from University of London. So we know about the teaching experience all over the world, and this makes it the better interacting and getting together with our students. And every semester, of course, we couldn't do it this semester because of the COVID-19, but we have a welcome session, and we give the honor and high honor students their certificates, and we get together, and they know each other, and we have a club which is working for them, and of course we are working for them as well, to make sure. We got some seminars. We get the students to attend some seminars in other universities in North Cyprus, but we got the largest students of petroleum and natural gas engineering in North Cyprus, and the largest team of faculty instructors in North Cyprus as well. And this makes us very, very successful. This is why we are so successful.
Excellent. Thank you, Professor. As you mentioned as well, that the students, graduated students from bachelor degree, or as well as you mentioned that there is one student after graduation of master continuing his studies at PhD program. What would be the advantages for the students to continue their studies, especially at our university? What makes us different from other universities?
Now, we find this one in master graduates. Now, for master graduates, we got a lot of students from already graduated from other faculties, from other countries, and are coming to us. And our students also they are starting their first year. Now, what we find out that our students, they got the advantage of the other students because they got the background which they need for master studies. Unfortunately, some students which they come, they don't have the full knowledge of the master studies, and for the first year, especially first semester, they have more difficulties about it. So this is the same for PhD, I think, because what will happen is when you finish your master's degree in the here and you start your PhD degree, we make sure that you got the necessary knowledge and information when you complete your studies, and also whether you want to carry on as to PhD or not. You want to go after your masters to get a job, you can get a very good job. For example, our first student, which I mentioned earlier on, was from Lebanon, Muhammad Kadir. He finished his master's program again with us, and now he got a job in the United Arab Emirates, and he's working there. So, and some of our students as well, one of our students, two, I think, of our students, they got masters in the United States. They are doing their masters in the United States. Two of our students, they are doing their masters in Canada. One of our students, she got a job in one of the highest reputable petroleum and natural gas engineering. She got a job there as an engineer, and I believe she's working on office, this particular graduate. But if you are doing your work here perfectly, correctly, then, and you got the knowledge and the experience, you are free to go anywhere you want and you can get the job. You competing with the world. Always I'm telling my students, you competing with the world, not only with your fellow graduates, students, but with the world. And you have to be successful, because obviously when somebody is looking for somebody to employ, they want to get the best person to employ, and you have to show them that you are the best person. And we give our students the best knowledge. I'm always telling them, if you are not successful in one lecture, you have to repeat it. You have to make sure that you know that one, because you have to learn it at the university. After you graduate and you become engineer and you go and you get a job, then you cannot ask another engineer, your fellow engineer, sorry, I don't know this, can you tell me? This is not acceptable. You should know what you are doing. And if you should know you're doing, as you are going to get more successful in the company you are working, and maybe higher position, even maybe you are going to be a partner in your company in the world. This is how it started for all the others as well. Yes. So the most important thing is to work hard, to learn hard, and to show your knowledge, and we are going to succeed.
That's very well explained. Thank you, Professor. It's really nice to hear the way you know the numbers, the way you know the places where our graduate students are going, where they're working. It's really nice to know and see how much you care about your not only the current student, but also that you are following up the graduated students. Thank you, Professor. It's really nice.
Of course, because I look at my students as my sons and daughters. I want them to be successful because I consider myself successful. Why? Because my students are successful. I used to attend anyway, now not this year, a lot of international conferences. I went to Dubai, to Sharjah, I went to Trabzon, I went to other cities. Wherever I go, I find my students, all students, they are coming and recognizing me. Some of them, unfortunately, I don't recognize them because then when they say I am this and that, then I recognize them. I got about 15, 16,000 students I teach so far. So, and I am lucky that all my students, uh, they got a good jobs and they are successful. And my advice to my students is that study very well, and I am sure that you are going to get a good job and you are going to be successful. And this is how I'm going to be proud of you. I'm telling them. And I'm us saying them have a good luck and have a good health.
Thank you, Professor. It's really impressive. Coming back about the current situation, as you mentioned about the COVID-19 change, lots of ways, especially about the methods of education and assessments of the student, especially this semester when it just came as the wave to us, unexpected, unprepared. May you shortly introduce us how this semester went and how online classes was held it, especially examination?
This is a new experience. Uh, Actually, if the students are following the lectures uh, according to the rules, uh, even this method is better than teaching in the class because we put the slides there, we give our lectures, and the lecture is there. And if the student can attend it, the student can look at it and follow it and ask questions. Uh, but of course, some of the students, because of their connections and so, they have some problems. Uh, uh, for these ones, of course, we need to look at them to give them some more homeworks and so. But for us, for me, for example, it was very, very hard uh, 3 months because I have to do more work. Also, not for the students to advise my students, also advise my instructors. Have to do it because we are unprepared. It came suddenly.
Exactly. Yes.
Uh, but I think overall we did very well. We did very well, and of course we are making sure that we are the grading or the marks is going to be according to their success, and to get that one we are doing different methods, and we are improving every day. And I'm thinking this is even, I think some lectures is going to be online from now on. But of course, again, to get in touch with the students, for me, it's best, of course, because always my office was full of students. They used to come and ask me when they need something, uh, or because some of them, they are coming here 17 years old, 18 years old, and they need advice, is not only just teaching them, it's also to show them the way of life here and to make sure that they are welcome, because it's a different country. Myself, twice I went to Turkey and then to England. And of course, when you first go, it's a different country. You don't know, especially some of them. In my students, 97%, they don't know the language. When they go out, of course, they are okay in the university because we're teaching in English. But so it's uh, to make them feel home. It's very, very important.
Yes.
Yes. There is one question which came there. I tell you that one. How can I apply? Somebody says about master's degree. This is the same for all of our students. Actually, because most of our students are uh, foreign students from
Yes.
different countries, you can apply to the International Office of Students of nearest university. You can find it on the web page, or even you can send me an email and I can forward it to you, whether you want to study undergraduate, masters, or PhD, and they are going to send it to me. I'm going to evaluate your qualifications and then notify them. I usually do it within 24 hours. So there is no delay on that. We give you all opportunities to do it. And even for masters and PhD students, if you are in a different discipline, not a petroleum and natural gas graduate, we can give you between, I'm not quite sure, 3 to 6 undergraduate courses to study, depending on your discipline, and then you can start your master's degree here. If we got time, I want to explain some more about the master's degree.
Yes, sure.
Is it
Yes, sure.
possible? Okay. For the master's degree, we got 2 programs actually, even 3 programs. One is a 1 year program, uh, and in 1 year program, you have to take 7 courses and 1 seminar and 1 thesis to finish. This is for 1 year program. You can do it in 1 year or you can do it in 2 years. It's up to you. Of course, 1 year program, but is very, very hard to finish it in 1 year program, because nobody else finished it yet. I tell you, 5 students tried to finish it, they couldn't finish it because it's not an easy program. But if you can finish it in 2 years or even in 18 months, you can finish it. But if you are desperate and you got only 1 year to study, you can have a master's degree without thesis. And in that case, what you can have, there are 7 courses. Instead of 7 courses, 1 thesis and 1 seminar, you can have uh, 10 courses. To have 10 courses, you finish it in 12 months. But if you work hard, you can finish it in 12 months with masters as well. Because as I told you before, and all our listeners are hearing, I did my PhD in England, in London University. In London University, the master's degree is 1 year usually, the most popular one. But they finish it. If you can't finish it, actually what happens is this: they give you an extension of another year to finish your thesis, because your courses you can finish, but is the thesis, because this thesis is, you have to do research, because nowadays every day we have to change. is not like previous years. I mean, when I used to study, you have to do research even during your undergraduate studies, not only your postgraduate studies. For the postgraduate studies, you have to do research, and you have to know the area which you are going to do your master thesis and get the knowledge before you go on. In master programs, we got four main programs. We got uh, reservoir engineering, we got production engineering, drilling engineering, and petroleum geology. In these fields, you have to be prepared which one you want, and you have to do a lot of research and a lot of you are going to look literature review during your studies to make sure. And when you finish your 7 courses, then with the 7 courses, after you finish it or just before you finish it, you have to start immediately to your thesis to be able to finish it in 1 year. It's very hard job. If you are prepared for it, I'm sure you can do it, but it's very hard. I have to tell you that. But
Yes, I believe it's very hard.
nothing is impossible in this world. Nothing is impossible.
Yes, exactly. I believe, as you said, that students can complete their master very fast in 1 year, but thesis, I think, is one of the most important, especially for the students who is planning to continue their studies for PhD. As we know that master thesis is the mandatory class in order to be accepted to PhD program. So I believe that it's very important to give the time for the master thesis and do the best in it, especially because it's gonna be most probably topic that they're gonna continue in their PhD studies.
That's correct, of course, because if you are not successful, then it's up to us. If we see that this person is not going to be successful in PhD or in masters, we are not going to accept them in the program, because uh, as a department, we want to get the students which they are going to complete their studies. Their success is the department success. So if they prepare for it, and for the 7 lectures I mentioned, one of them is mandatory. Research methods and ethics is a must, and they have to be taken in the first semester. So they have to prepare. The other ones, for the time being, they are not. Maybe we are thinking the petroleum economics, petroleum and natural gas economics, to put it as a mandatory, but not yet, because of course economy is very important. They have to know all over the world what is the position and so on. But for the time being, we got only 1 lecture. The other, at least four or five lectures, is going to be for their main field of study: reservoir engineering, drilling engineering, production engineering, or petroleum geology. And the rest are going to be, of course, uh, depending on their thesis, the the supervisor of their thesis and myself, we are going to advise the students which lectures they are going to take during their master's degree to be successful for their master thesis.
Thank you, Professor. That was very nice explanation, very nice presentation of the program. Just for the end, we would like to ask you, could you give for our prospective student, current student, and of course already graduated students, your advices about this program and personally even?
Okay, my advice is this: if you like to work as a petroleum and natural gas engineer or do research, come to the program, apply to the program. If you don't like it, don't apply. But if you like it and you apply, you have to work hard to get the basic knowledge of the engineering and to compete with your fellow students at our university and the other students. And of course, you have to like the field trips as well. And of course, it's going to be a stress for you because when you go for exploration and you as a petroleum and natural gas engineer decide and you give uh, a point where the company is going to drill and find the oil or natural gas, if they are not successful, then your reputation is not going to be good. And even your employment is going to be very successful. So you have to make sure that everything, all coordinates are look at it, and then you decide. But of course, nowadays we are more uh, lucky about it because because the geophysics are having a big improvements for the last 20 or 30 years. So initially you do geophysics and you look at the rocks, and then you study them more, and then and you can do geochemistry, and you can do clay mineralogy, and then with not only one point of view, in a few point of views you are going to make the research, and then you decide where is the right point to drill if you think it is a petroleum and natural gas there. So success is very important, and you have to be, as I said, very careful, maybe lucky as well. There is one thing I may say to the students, if we got time. Have we got time?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay. Now, Cyprus, as you all know, is a copper country, and for 3,000 years ago and 4,000 years ago, it was the most copper producing country, 50 tons of copper every year. And then no copper, and then about 100 years ago, actually exactly in 1919, an American came here to look for a copper. And then he looked at it and he says, okay, I'm going to do 15 boreholes to find the copper. And he went to Skouryodissa and he got somebody to sponsor him, to back him, and they back him. And then he drilled, and then he drilled, he couldn't find enough copper. And then he was thinking, what shall I do? And then he said to their backers, to their sponsors, give me one last chance. But this time I'm not going to go 10 meters, I'm going to go 25 meters because I think the copper is more deep. And then they gave him the chance, and then he made Cyprus Mines Corporation one of the most profitable companies during 60s and, well, from 20s until 60s. So if they didn't back him, he was going to be unsuccessful. But they back him because he made the decision that he had to go more deep to find the copper, and he find it. So the decision of the engineer at the field or geophysics or whatever it is very important. You have to take all needed information and put them, and then make your decision.
Thank you, Professor. In addition about the copper, as I heard before, it's also one part of the story, the way Cyprus name came up, that it developed from the word copper because our island was full of copper, as you mentioned. So yes, it's one of the stories why how the Cyprus name came up to
That's right.
the world. Yes. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for perfect introduction about the program and sharing your knowledge with us. It was great conversation and great honor to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to present what I think to my students. I believe they're going to be not only my students, but all the listeners about it. And uh, thank you very much as well for letting me do the program. And as the last word I say, if you are interested in petroleum and natural gas engineering, you can send me an email or to the international office, and you can find my name is there, my email from the nearest university webpage. And good luck to what all of you, what you want to do, and be healthy.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, and see you hopefully soon again. Thank you for all of our viewers. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free anytime to write us direct message. Of course, as the professor also introduced you, feel free to contact him directly if you wish. For the ones who wants to apply, don't forget that our postgraduate scholarship admission is going on at the moment, so feel free to contact us. Feel free to ask the questions about any information that you need, and you can contact us via social media or our official email address that you can find also on our website, which is at the bottom of the screen at the moment. Let's be connected next week. We will have again great honor to introduce you three new, not new, actually current programs and the departments. We will have great guests and see you. Let's be connected.